Welcome back to Smoky Ribs. I'm Russ Jones. If you notice right behind me, I've got smoke already rolling. Got my Lonestar Grillz Insulated Mini fired up. I've got inside of it 2 pork butts and 2 spare ribs, 2 racks of spare ribs. I'll back you up just a little bit and show you how I prepared them, the rubs I used, and what we're going to do with them. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a couple of shout outs to 2 little young men. One is 5 years old, one is 7 years old. They both watch my videos. The 7-year-old, his name is Wallace. He actually drew a picture and his dad just had to share it with me on my Smoky Ribs Facebook page, and I really got a big kick out of that. Thank you, Wallace. I really enjoyed that. And the other shout out goes to Channing. Your mom told me that you found my recipes in my videos through looking for a hot dog recipe, and since then you've watched all my videos and really enjoy them. Thank you so much. I really appreciate both you little guys. I hope y'all continue to have a love for cooking and take it with you all your life. So I'm gonna go ahead and back you up right now. I'm gonna show you, take you in the kitchen and show you what I use for the rubs on this. We're gonna go ahead and get this cook started.
If you wanna cook backyard barbecue till you get your feel, you come to the right place. Russ Jones Smoky Ribs. Smoky Ribs. Smoky
Let me show you what I've got here so far. I've installed a drip pan. That's just to help clean up from all the grease and drippings going into the water pan. I meant there's no problem with it going in the water pan. It's just gonna be less that I've got to deal with, less I got to clean up. Now take a look down here at the firebox. I've already got it loaded, and she's fully loaded all the way up to its capacity. I'm anticipating a long cook. Got these 2 pork butts going on. Plus I got 2 racks of ribs. Ribs are going to take roughly 4.5 hours. Pork butts, don't know, maybe 10 to 12 hours. So I just went ahead and loaded it up. And like I showed in one of my other videos, you know, if you don't use it all, great. Just close your bottom vent, your top vent. It'll snuff the flame out. You'll have charcoal for your next cook. Now what I've got here is a mixture of hickory and pecan, just like when I use my offset. I love that combination. I've got more pecan than I do hickory, because pecan is not quite as strong as hickory, and I've got it layered to where when I light it right here and it really starts to burn, it's going to light this piece first and sporadically throughout the cook, and this back here may never even see fire. Don't know yet. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and light this, and we're gonna go in there and rub down some pork butts. Lonestar Grillz, Chris Goodlander, he recommends using the charcoal briquettes. This is just the regular Kingsford blue and white, and the reason being is that all the pieces are the same size for a real even cook versus lumped, where you got big sizes, small sizes, and you could have some inconsistency in your heat, and you want to run a real good constant heat. So this is lit. We're going to close this up. In the last video I poured this directly into the pan, but heck, man, you ain't got to take no grates out or nothing. Just pour it through the top. Let it. That's what it's designed for. Let it do its thing. Now this 1 gallon is going to be all we're adding until we bring this up to the temp that we're looking for, which is 250 degrees. And at that point, I'll add 1 more gallon. So let me show you what I'm going to be using on these ribs. I've got 2 racks of ribs, St. Louis cut, and I'm going to be doing them 2 different ways. On 1 rack, I'm using the Pirate Johnny's seasonings, and also making a bourbon sauce with these seasonings as well. This is, let's see here, this is the Sweet Island, and this is the Scorched Pirate. I'll be using a combination of both of these. I'm going to be using a Sweet Island as a rub for the ribs, but I'll be using and incorporating both of these into this bourbon sauce. For the 2nd rack of ribs, I'm going to be using is Texas Best Rib Rub. This is made by Heaven Made Products. I have used this in the past, really good stuff. So we're going to have 2 different flavors of ribs going on. Also on this cook, I'm going to be doing 2 pork butts. And the sole reason for doing these pork butts, well, first we can make sandwiches like for tomorrow with them, but the majority of that will be shredded and will be vacuum packed and put back in the freezer. I love pulled pork on hand for just whenever. Take a pack out, thaw it out, make sandwiches, or you can incorporate it into many recipes as well. And on the ribs, I will be spritzing those with one of my favorite spritz, which is 1/3 bourbon and 2/3 apple juice, and that's it. You put a good rub on there like this with that, you talk about some good ribs. Fantastic. And I've never done the ribs like we're going to be doing with Pirate Johnny, so that's going to be a treat to see how that turns out. I'm looking forward to that as well. All right, let's go ahead and get all this rubbed down. I've used all kind of binders, but my go-to binder is always mustard. I just really like using mustard as a binder. It works well, does not impart any mustard flavor whatsoever into this pork. Now going on with the rub. Make sure to get your rub on all sides, including the ends. These are large pieces of meat, so don't be scared to put quite a bit on there. I go very generous when I'm applying a rub to pork. All right, we're going to flip it over, rub mustard on this side, and we'll finish this up. Something else I always do is remove the membrane from spare ribs, any ribs actually, including beef. All right, since I'm already working with mustard and this heaven-made rib rub, we're going to go ahead and do this first rack with that. The last and final thing I'm applying rub to is going to be the one that's getting the bourbon sauce and also the Pirate Johnny's seasoning. So we're going to go on with a little bit of oil. This is just vegetable oil. You can use canola, you can use olive oil, oil of your choice. All right, I'm not going on real heavy with these because these are the ribs that's getting sauced. It's awful windy out here today. All right, I just added my second gallon of water. We are up to a 225, and like I mentioned earlier, we're going to bring it all the way up to 250, somewhere between 225 and 250. All right, let me grab these pork butts first. Place that one right here, and we're going on with this one. These are fat cap down, if you're wondering. That should drip in this pan just fine. Right now, I guess up here, right above, we'll lay our ribs. Tell you what, I really like these gloves. Got these in a couple of weeks ago, and they're all silicone. You can go in there and wash your hands. You know what I'm saying? Wash your gloves just like washing your hands, unlike the cloth and fabric type. They do have a insulated insert that's heat resistant, but I am really digging them. All right, so this is going to be my Pirate Johnny ribs. This is my standard ribs here. We're going to close her up and let her rip. I was contacted here a while back about doing a video for a product. Now let me tell you, I get a lot of emails and messages, people wanting me to show their product on my videos. And for the most part, I would say about 85% of them never get replied back to because, first off, I don't want my channel to be like a big commercial, and I do show a lot of things that I think are really cool and things that my viewers and the people that follow me would actually like. And so this particular one was telling me about a mac and cheese, and my first instant thought was thinking about the box mac and cheese like you get at any supermarket, the stuff we ate way back as little kids, what kids are still eating. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, but thought about it, and he was talking about how it was made with a real bechamel and tastes nothing like the box stuff. I'm like, I tell you what, send me a sample out and I'll try it. He sent me 3 packs out, and my granddaughter, 14 years old, cooked the first pack. I said, just read the directions, I wasn't giving a lot of thought to it. And anyway, I went in there and tried it. Man, I was floored. This stuff tastes just like what homemade real mac and cheese would taste like. I was really floored over it. And I got excited over it, actually. I'm like, wow, man, this is nothing like what I was expecting. And I told him, I said, send me some more out and I'll definitely show this in my video and I'll use it. You know, it's really good product. And what I'm referring to is this Mac & Son. And I hope you go over there to his website. I'll have the link in the description box how this all came about. He's got a little 3-year-old son that really loves mac and cheese. And so what he would do is he would doctor it up and try to make it taste better, because he knew that's pretty much crap, you know, the way it is right out of the box. So that's what he did. And the next thing you know, he's like, well, daggum, he goes, I'm pretty much just completely reinventing it. And so that got him thinking about inventing one, you know, a new one for the market. And that's exactly what he did. And it's called Mac & Son. And that's reflective of his little 3-year-old son right there that loves the mac and cheese. But it comes in 3 flavors. This is a classic cheddar. This is a Parmesan cream. And this is a white cheddar. I've tried all 3. All 3 are absolutely delicious. And it's ready to go. You can eat it just as is. And like he said, you can take a handful of cheese and even make it even better, but it really don't need it, I promise you. But I'm going to be using this as a side for this cook on the ribs, and that's why I want to show it and save it for this video. Plus, he just now got his website to where he can take orders, and I just went in there and looked, and you can buy, it's free shipping. You can get a 5-pack of these. I think it's $29.95, which seems a little high compared to the box mac and cheese like you would normally get. But let me tell you, it's like daylight and dark, plus the shipping is included with that price. So it breaks down, if you figure the shipping and everything, around $5 for a bag of this, which isn't bad in today's prices, I don't think. But while I'm talking about it, he wants to give away 10 of these, 10 just, separate ones to 10 different winners. And he asked me, could I do some sort of contest? And what I want to do is actually do it on my Facebook, my Smoky Ribs Facebook. And I realize not everybody does Facebook. So if you don't, I'm sorry, but that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to post a link at the very same time that this video goes live. And basically all you got to do is comment on that post about this Mac & Son. And I will do a random drawing in 5 days from today. 5 days from today. What is today? The 21st. So let's say on the 26th, I'll make an announcement on Facebook by a post, and I'll announce 10 winners. 10 winners will each get one of these. Now you'll have to message me through Facebook, your address, of course, to where I can transfer that over to him, that information, and he'll get them out to you. So, hey, I hope you do try this. It's impressive. I couldn't believe it. All right, we have been running real smooth. I've been holding around 240 degrees. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to pull this rack out that has the ribs. I'm going to spritz it with my favorite spritz. I mentioned it earlier. This is 1/3 bourbon, 2/3 apple juice. That's all it is. We're going to do that probably once every 45 minutes until they're ready. All right, this is that bourbon sauce I was referring to earlier. I got 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. It has 1/2 cup of apple butter, 1/4 cup of bourbon. I've got a tablespoon each of the Pirate Johnny seasoning I showed you at the beginning, the Scorched Pirate and the Sweet Barbecue. I did not heat this up. Alcohol has not been burnt off, but it will burn off just as soon as I close all this back up. It's going to go at roughly 15-20 minutes. These ribs are going to be done. It's really coated on there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. While I have it open, I'm going to spritz these. All right, now this is something I've used on a previous video. It's the Jack Daniel's Glaze that I used on a video about a year ago. And it's going to give it a really beautiful sheen and an awesome flavor. I really encourage you to try this recipe. I'll have a link in the description box for that video if you'd like to check out how to make this. It's very simple. It too has alcohol. Now I did simmer this for roughly 5-6 minutes to burn off that alcohol, even though it will burn off inside this pit. I'm going to apply this glaze probably there again about once an hour until this thing is finished. The fat side's down, so this is perfect. We're not going to worry about that side. We're just going to glaze this side. It is time to pull these ribs out. And I'm gonna tell you a little word of advice. It's best to back away from this when you first open it, because that smoke's gonna slap you right in the eyeballs, and that's not real fun. Beautiful. Oh yeah, we got a great bend on these. That is perfection. I know that, Phil. I want you to take a look at the room. I actually had enough room for 3 racks on this rack. I got 2 butts on that with still room. Empty rack on the bottom. For this to be called a mini, it sure has a lot of room. All right, I'm gonna cut into these and see how we did. They just come off the smoker. I hadn't even let them rest really, and that's kind of a no-no. You always need to let meat rest, but all the other stuff is done, the beans, the mac and cheese. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut into it. This rack right here is what I typically do anytime I invite people over and we have a barbecue off camera. This is my go-to rib. Man, this is like, use your favorite rub and use that spritz I talked about earlier. Fantastic. But I do like mixing it up and trying new things, and that's why we did this right here with the Pirate Johnny's and the bourbon sauce. So let's flip it over to where we can find our bones and carve into these bad boys. Still piping hot. I'm going to build a plate here in a moment, but I'm going to try one of these ribs, or I'm going to try to. But first, we're just going to take a look. Hope that light's not too bright. Oh man, look at the juice on that. That is a beautiful color on that. Look at the juice. That has got to be some of the juiciest ribs I've had in a very long time. Super flavorful. Now this is the one with the apple butter and the bourbon and the Pirate Johnny's seasonings. Excellent ribs, really great flavor. I'm surprised. I didn't know what to expect with that combination, but I would definitely be trying that again. This is the mac and cheese I showed you earlier. It comes with breadcrumbs that you sprinkle on top. Now this is the Parmesan. We did sprinkle a little extra Parmesan, but it's not needed, I promise you, and that was after the fact. The other Parmesan, the cheeses within it are all melted. You're gonna swear that's homemade if you try it. All right, so everybody's hurrying me up. They're starving. This smell is just incredible in this kitchen, seriously. And I just want to close by saying I still have 2 pork butts out there on the smoker, and I'm still quite a ways. I'm probably 3 to 4 hours away from those being done. I'm not gonna show that, you know, bringing it in, doing a taste test. Y'all have seen me do that I don't know how many times. And like I said, if you're interested in that glaze, check out the video in the description box for that. Very well worth taking a look at. And as I'm saying this, I am going to run some footage that I will take later on in my future. I will take some footage and show it as I'm saying this right now, if that makes any sense. Until next time, smoke your ribs.